Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Grumman Pilot's YouTube channel. And we're going to go through a walkthrough of the Tail AD 2021-1412 and the two documents that back it up. Service Bulletin 195 and Service Kit 125 Bravo. There's a lot of information in there. We're going to give you a high-level skimming to help you understand it. So stay tuned while we have a bit more fun. So we would like to ask you please subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notify to stay current with our content. Now on the tail of the AA1 series and the Alpha 5, we have three sections that kind of look alike. We have the rudder, we have the left, and we have the right horizontal. And that was a picture of one right there in the beginning. And then the text tells us what the required actions are. On page 1, we have required action A. Now let's talk about what's on the pages. Page 1 basically is what it's all about. It's all the AA1 and AA5 series aircraft. That's the two-place and the Travelers. So that tells you what it's going to apply to. And then on page 2, we get into the required actions. So on page 2, action required A are the bond lines, all the bond lines in the aircraft. And now those are backed up with figures 2 and 3 showing you where they are in the whole airframe. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to be looking for a delamination. Now you're going to verify delamination via step 2 with a feeler gauge. And then if you find that you have no delamination, then you can just clean it, seal it, and paint it and move on. But if you do have delamination, then you're going to have to execute either C or D part of Service Kit 125 Bravo. And that's on then the other thing is the horizontal stabilizer. You need to go ahead and check it and then go on and do section B2. Major corrosion, you have to check it and then you have to log it. Then you have to treat your totals and remove it. And then you also have to record it in the aircraft log and send in a piece of paperwork to True Flight. Now that's action A if you do not find delamination. So as you can see here from the diagrams that there's a lot of the aircraft and the bond lines that have to be checked. Now the easier part or required action is going to be part Bravo, and that's where you're only checking the horizontal stab, and that's on the AA1 series and on the Travelers. And what you're looking for there is inspection again for the ribs on the end. You may have to remove it from the aircraft to check the rib on the other end. You want to do an internal inspection, and again you're going to look for corrosion. You're going to try to remove it. When you're all done, you're going to log it, and then you're going to also have to measure some forward spars if you do find delamination, and you're looking for those spars and the center rib because you need to know where they are, because you're going to have to drill in the center of that rib and install the pop rivets. Now in both of these documents there is a lot of substitutions for the pop rivets that you can use in here and still have a legal repair. Again, remember to log all of this and have your mechanic read it for himself. Now there's a lot more to Service Kit 125 Bravo that we're going to actually be using, but it's all there in case you need it. In case you need to add the U channel on the end of your control surfaces, ailerons and flaps, elevator, and the trims. Also the rudder. They may need that. That's what it's all going to talk about. And then also too, it likes to talk about the rivet substitutions you use, the layout patterns, and how you want to follow those, because that's what's going to give you that 1-inch spacing, quarter inch off the center line of each rib to give you a good solid repair to strengthen your tail. Now again, as I said, there's a tremendous amount of information and instructions for you to follow to do this repair and log it properly. Let True Flight know that it's been done and get in your aircraft maintenance, because you don't want to have this happen with your aircraft. That's why you want to be thorough and make sure none of these little evil demons are running around your airplane. Now here's an actual horizontal stabilizer piece. It's also the right or the left side depending on where the drain holes are drilled and how it's mounted on the aircraft. It's also your vertical stabilizer before the rudder. And the fun joke that Ken and I used to have drinking beers every year when we would see each other was like, too bad you didn't have enough prop clearance to be able to put a fourth one on the bottom and look like a missile flying through the air. But anyway, what you're basically looking for in that is you want to look internally to check it, and you also want to find out where the ribs are. Now in this case the ribs are easy to find because of the fact that there are scuff marks, because the ribs are a little proud and the metal over the rib, it does not flex as much as that is unsupported metal. But anyway, that's what they look like when they're held on by 4 bolts again at the bottom. And there is a center rib, and then there is a forward spar. Now the forward spar runs parallel to the front edge of the elevator rudder slash horizontal stabilizer, but it does not run parallel to the back. And that's where you want to come in with the tape measures, and you want to measure how far you went in at the angle, and then you want to go ahead and transfer that mark to find that rib very accurately, because you need to take that rib, split it into a 1/4 inch on either side of the center line, and then that's where you're going to put your rivets if you find delamination. And you're also going to want to look into the lightning holes. Now here we are looking through the lightning holes on the bottom of the horizontal slash elevator slash whatever that piece is. It is a part number and it is interchangeable. But when you look in there, and you're going to see in a minute, the camera will go in and give you some good illumination. But you're also going to want to check to make sure that you don't have any delamination on those ribs on the inside, and that's where a good scope comes in, looking in there. And in some cases you may have to go in with like a paint stick, a long one for a 5-gallon bucket with some Scotch-Brite on it, to kind of knock some of the surface scale off the inside of the part that you're looking at. And then once you have that all done, then you can wash it in soap and water. If you don't have any delamination, then you can do corrosion treatment on it, and then you can mount it back on the airplane. But if you are going to have delamination and you want to do a good look, you'll notice that the lightning holes are not always the same size. They're smaller up at the top 4 than the bottom 5. So you can get your finger through there and feel the rib, but again, you're going to want to find that center rib, and you're going to want to mark it accurately when you come back to drill the holes for the rivets. Now, in those ribs there, we can use the flush mounted Cherry Max rivets. So they're a pop rivet. The rivets on the top and the bottom ribs are the inboard and outboard spar, depending on how the part is oriented on the aircraft. Those are going to be done with squeezable rivets. So ladies and gentlemen, that's taken a good look at the center of the airplane. Now let's take a real quick look on the inside. Now here we're looking inside with just a GoPro and the ambient lighting looking in, and you can see there's a lot of dust and dirt. Again, these have just been stored for years and years, but this is where you would have to go in with some Scotch-Brite on a paint strip and clean it. And here are your access holes on the back spar for getting access to it. And again, you have much bigger ones on the top and the bottom that allow you to go in and get a lot more clean. But as you can see, there's a piece of tape there that was protecting something that went through a rib. That's going to be a corrosion spot, possibly. Depends on how much dirt and debris accumulated underneath it. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, looking at all the ribs inside of the horizontal stabilizer, the vertical stabilizer, and jokingly the tail skeg. But it can be done. Again, it's easier if you take it off the airplane. Just take your time. Be sure to fill out the paperwork for TrueFlight and send it in for their records, and be sure to complete and copy it and send it into your records for your aircraft. So ladies and gentlemen, that's probably more about the Tail 80 than you ever wanted to know. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day flying your now much safer Grumman. Thanks for watching. So here are the cute kittens all being quiet on the sofa on this nice cold day. Thought you'd enjoy it. So take a look at these little beauties. They're 8 and 10 months old each.